And welcome to the overview video of how to create a project map in the ANR Atlas tool. This process is meant to guide outdoor recreation grant applicants to build maps which will meet all the mapping components required to apply for an FPR recreation grant. To start off, we do strongly recommend creating an account and signing into the tool before you begin building out the map. Otherwise, your work won't be saved and you would need to recreate the map if any edits needed to be made later on. So to do that, we'll go up to this Tools button, which will give us a drop-down menu here. You can see this Create Account button, which will then prompt just a few questions to create an account. If you already have an account with the Atlas, make sure you're signing in before you start working, otherwise you won't be able to revisit or save any of the projects. Once we're logged in, we can see this open and save option in the map tools, which will be where you can save the project as you're working, and then also revisit any previously built maps. So once we're logged in and all set to go, we will want to navigate to the project area. You can do that by either clicking, zooming, and dragging around the map to find your area, or you can use the search bar up top and that will navigate you exactly to the parcel location. In this case, we're going to use the National Life Building as an example, since this is where the ANR offices are. Once you click search, there will be a few different options, but this is really just being pulled from different search engines to find the location. As long as you're in the correct vicinity of the project, that is completely fine. It doesn't really depend on how you get there. So once we're at our location, we'll just want to make sure that we have a correct base map setting. If you go down to this lower left-hand button, right now it reads as ESR World, which is exactly what we want. If you see any other base map selected, make sure you select that ESR World option before you begin. Then we'll go ahead and add layers to the base map. There is a pre-populated layer made to select a set of layers which are most relevant to mapping the FPR Recreation Grant projects. So to find that, we'll click this Layers button over here, and then go up to this drop-down button and select Recreation Grants. You'll see that'll change the map just a little bit in terms of the visibility. We can now see the trails that are in the system on our parcel. There's also parcel boundary lines, other information about maybe the waterways that we see back here, and then also other shapes like the circle gives us information about the rare and threatened endangered species on the property, which is all information we do want to know for our application. So this is also a good tool to just get some information about our parcel. So if you're finding that there are some layers that just don't feel like they apply to you, you can definitely deselect some of these options. The caveat with that though is if you turn any layer off and it changes the image or the highlighted areas in the map, you'll want to be sure to turn those back on. So for example, the vernal pools layer is something that we know it doesn't really apply to our parcel. So if you deselect this option, really nothing changes in terms of like what is visible in the map that we're working on. Whereas if we were to deselect this Forest Parks and Rec layer, that'll just completely alter the trail system here, which is actually the example we use today. So we won't want to have that deselected. Feel free to play around with these different layers though, but again, just make sure that anything that is automatically visible when you select this recreation grant layer, make sure that that is visible and on for the purposes of this. So once we're happy with all those layers, we'll need to begin adding the project components. So I'm going to just go right to really where we're working. Today we'll use this trail system as an example and build out some project components there. So to do that, we'll click this draw button up top in this panel, and then we'll see the text, drawing tools, and different shape options that we can play around with as well. We recommend using different colors for project activities. So for example, you'll want to use a different color for the improvements or work on existing trails, another color for creation of new trails, another color for trailside amenities, and again, a different color for access to state and staging areas. So we'll use these shapes to build out any components that we want to highlight that will be done in our project. For instance, maybe I want to add a kiosk at this trailhead here. So I'm going to use the rectangle tool to show that. And then clicking this styles button over here will allow me to select different colors and different dotted lines to our shape. So when building out any element in this map, it's important to use pretty high contrast colors, really depending on the image background. Since we have a pretty dark forested area, I'm going to use some bright colors. So I'm going to use this yellow square as the kiosk example. So I'll go ahead and click the area and just drag out roughly the shape and size of the area I'm going to add this kiosk. Maybe I'll also want to do some trail maintenance on this area here. So I'm going to use the freehand tool to show this. Again, make sure that styles button is clicked so we can change different colors and different dotted lines. I'm going to use a solid orange for this example. And then I'll just click and draw along the trail that I want to do maintenance on. It doesn't have to be perfect, but if you want to make any edits to the shapes or the lines, you'll go ahead and click this edit button up top and then click the element that you want to change. So maybe I want to extend the trail just a little bit to capture exactly where we'll do the maintenance. Once you're happy with that, click outside of the edited shape just to save the changes. You can also erase elements completely by using this erase button. We'll go ahead and click that button first and then the element that we want to erase. You can also clear all of the elements, but know that that'll just completely delete every element on the map that you had created. This pop-up button does pop up just to give a fair warning, but just be mindful when using this tool. All right. So if we're happy with those shapes and elements to show the project work, we'll want to label those correctly. So let's go to the text tool up top. Again, going to the styles button to choose a different color, maybe size of the text that we'll want to label these elements with. I'll use this white for today. You can either enter text up top in the same panel and then clicking where you want to add that text. Or you could also directly click where you want to add the label. Maybe I'll add the trail maintenance here and then click, and then this pop-up box will come up where you can enter that text. Similarly to the shapes and drawing tool, you can edit, erase, and clear all of the elements. Maybe I want to edit this trail maintenance label and make it just a little bit smaller to and place it in a different area. If we're happy with those labels, we'll also want to make sure to add landowner labels as well. We'll use the text tool to do that as well, but make sure that we are using a completely different style so that we can just obviously call out the landowner information in the parcel. So I'll click this yellow text to do that, and when labeling the landowner, be clear to label it that that is the information, so we know that National Life Insurance is the landowner for this parcel, so we'll enter that information. If you don't know the parcel landowner information, you can use the Atlas tool to find that. So first we'll click out of the drawing tool completely by clicking this X up top, and then go ahead and just click anywhere in the parcel boundary, and this information box will pop up. To find that landowner specific information, click this additional details button and then scroll down to find the landowner name. So if we're all set with how our map looks, we are about ready to save it as a PDF. One thing about when preparing the PDF form is the view of the map once generated will be based on the view you were last working in. So today I want to make sure that we really have a good view of the trail system, maybe just also note how close we are to the building. So this is maybe the view I'd want the map to be saved as, whereas if I were to zoom out, this wouldn't really be a helpful map of the project, considering there's just not a lot of information, clear information about the project components. So just make sure you are in the appropriate view by adjusting and dragging the view of the map before preparing it. So once that's all set, go to the map tools up top and click print. Here we'll just want to adjust a few settings. Be sure to select the 11 by 17 layout. You can choose either portrait or landscape, whichever makes the most sense for your project. I'm going to use landscape today. Make sure that the output format is PDF and also high resolution at that 150 dpi. You're welcome to change the title of the map if that's helpful for you. And then any notes that you might want to use as well. Once that's all set, click print, and that will go ahead and prepare the file. You'll see once the file is prepared, the software will automatically develop a legend on the right-hand side of the map, which will include all of that layer information that we had selected or deselected before beginning. Once that map is all set and processed, click Open File, and that'll open up an Adobe view, and then we'll see the finalized map. If that looks all good to you, click this download button here, save that to your computer, and that PDF file will be exactly what you need to submit with your grant application. So there you have it. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to the FPR Grants staff, but otherwise, thank you so much for watching.